Morning, everybody. Or actually, it's afternoon now. Happy Comic Book Day. It's the first May. It's the first Saturday in May. So, congratulations. It's Happy Comic Books Day. I hope everybody went to a local comic book store and got themselves a free comic book. And I hope while they're there, they looked around and picked up some new comic books from their local retailer. I have not yet gone. Probably at the end of the day, probably will. There's two stores in my area, one in my immediate area, and then one down in next town over. It's about a half an hour away. I'll probably, if the rain's not that heavy, I will probably make the trip to the store that's farther away. Both stores are owned by the same people. I like the store that's farther away. That's their home store, so they have a lot larger selection of back issues. So, as you can see right now, I'm just working on her hair. Just focusing on getting the dots in. Back working, of course, in my local dive bar. The German Shepherd that I was working on has been finished. So we're back to showing sequential artwork. So, which means that we go back to pages like this, where right now I don't really have everything shown. This is one of those pages that has a reveal in it. So I can't necessarily show you the whole page. I'm just going in, working on the panels that I can work on. Like I said, it's a rainy day, so the bar's busier than usual. It was quite boisterous earlier, but I wasn't streaming then, or creating this video back then. It was, it's always entertaining when you're working because of the content. I mean, these are like old codgers, so of course, and it generally does happen when every generation, the older generation, criticizes the younger generation. But then I have to admit, I'm becoming the older generation. This week, I revealed 2 ink stuff that I have a ash can finished, and it's available. They have shown interest and said, hey, come on our show. So, well, I'm probably going to take them up on that offer. So when I do, of course, I will be letting everybody know. So if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you'll be able to get noticed then. So right now I'm just working on the hair. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to put everything, because I'm thinking already, and this is where you can't just go in, oh, well, I'll just ink it. You got to be strategic, because as we can see, we've got him drinking the bottle, framing these 2 up, but it comes down to, what do I do about this back door here? Do I ink it straight black, because it's really going to frame her up big time. But is that going to then conflict with here? So there's some different things I can do with that. What I can do is I can go in and do the back door area as strong as I did this bottle here that you can see in the frame, or put the black in very small dots. It'll read as a strong black, but it won't. It's actually going to read weaker than the dots making up the bottle in the foreground. So I may do that. So that might be either I'll do work on that today, or what I might do is hold off on that and make that part of the Sunday stippling video. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm using the hair. So see, I don't have, that way I'm not doing her cheek or the jawline ornament. I don't need to. And then go in, put in the shadow here on this part of her arm. You just don't need a whole lot. Just gotta put in just enough. One of the reasons why I do so much in the dot work and do much fading is that way, if I am going to have this colored, the colorist doesn't have to do all those tonality changes that a lot of computer coloring you see. All they're going to have to do is just put in a flat color. So another reason why I'm not going to the comic book store yet is a lot of the patrons here at the bar a lot of the patrons of the bar, I should say, have been very supportive of me. And I had the ash can finished last Friday, and I had the show on the weekend. So I wanted the comic book ready for the show, and I did okay with it. A lot of the people here, though, when they heard that I was going to have the ash can, they were very excited. So I'm here so that way they have the opportunity, and they'll be the very first people outside of the comic book scene, crowd, family to buy it, which I feel is only fair. It's important to me to give them that opportunity. So like I said, they've been very supportive of me, and how they've been supportive is let me having my personal time here without a lot of badgering, small talk, to just work. So right now I'm just going in, putting some noodling in here. Giving a little bit of texturing to the scarf. Putting in the shadow on her neck. And see how, sorry about that. Just putting in a little bit. You don't have to do an outline. If you just put the outline in, you're tracing. That's where a lot of people get the stigma, the inkers or tracers, because they see the pencil line and they say, okay, that's what the pencil line is, that's what I have to do. Good inkers look at the pencil line and determine that it's a guide, and a good inker will be able to determine what needs to be inked and what doesn't need to be inked. So I've been watching the Johnny Depp trial. Don't really care too much about it, other than the fact that I don't like when people are falsely accused of something. So, right now the case from Johnny Depp so far has been strong. When I'm watching the trial, I'm doing it on a YouTube channel called Legal Bites. She is a lawyer, and what they do on these shows is they watch the case and they critique it. They critique how they feel, how the case is going. They critique the lawyers more than the witnesses. And they'll give their personal opinion of how they feel about how the witnesses on the stand are answering questions, but overall, really, they're looking at and critiquing the lawyers, and they'll be like, "Oh," it's funny how there'll be a line of questioning, and they'll be like, "Object! Why aren't you objecting?" And then later on, someone will be like, "Hey, think about it. This is a really bad line of questioning, but it's putting us asleep. If it's putting us asleep, it's putting the jurors asleep. Last thing you want to do is you want to object, because if you object, you're bringing making the jury pay attention to what's going on again." Which I always found, all of a sudden it makes sense that if you are on one side, defender or prosecutor, and you can see that the jury has lost all interest of what's going on with this line of questioning, it is almost like, yeah, I could object, but I don't want really. I'm going to get more mileage out of not objecting and banking on the fact that the jury, just from me watching them, is zoned out. They don't care, which I find very interesting. And they talk a lot about strategy in court cases. They without revealing any information, they'll talk about cases they had in the past, which I find very enlightening. Primarily because, like I said, these are lawyers, and they're practicing lawyers, or they were practicing lawyers, so they have real life experience to bring to what's going on. So, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm used to using with the German Shepherd, and so I'm sorry if this video is not on focus. I gotta get back into focus on showing you guys with having the nib right in the center and not all the way off to the side like this. So I'm sorry about that. But overall, you get a good sense of what's going on here. Like I said, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to go in with some pencil work and just put in some light tone to then decide how I'm going to do this background. We're back at the cabin, and the one guy, Mac, he's drinking. Bob is disapproving, and Victoria, she's like, "Drink up, have at it, boy." So, like I said, we're just going to do some testing with tone and then decide what all goes where. So, This panel may look completely different when you see it. Okay, and it's getting close to the point where I'm not going to show too much because it'll have reveals in it, such as up here. It's feet. What's going on here? Why do I have a panel of just feet? You're not going to see this panel. You're not going to see me work on it because it's going to have a reveal that I haven't drawn in yet. I've got it drawn out on tracing paper, but haven't drawn out yet. So one of the more reasons why it makes it fun doing these videos as I'm working on the book, so you can see the progress, but at the same time also you get sneak peeks of pages that I'm working on without getting a reveal of the rest of the page. So you guys have fun. Remember, it's Free Comic Book Day, and always take life one die at a time.